So I'm on the Footy Fetish Show, and we're gonna break down the group. What group we broke it down? We break it down Group F. We ain't never scared. Ain't never scared. Ain't never scared. Welcome back to the Footy Fetish Show, folks, where the fetish is real and the footy is soccer. And sometimes I go on a tangent and I get to be a gangster rapper here on the Footy Fetish Show. That might be what I love the most. No, I'm just kidding. What I really love the most is talking soccer with my partner in crime. That'd be the Ocho, future coach of the U.S. men's national team, maybe ladies team, who knows? Ocho Tome.
What's up, world? Back again to talk some soccer, talk some footy.
What kind?
Champions League kind. And this is again, like I said in that last episode, you know, as every day goes by, I get more and more excited because I'm gonna be honest, Champions League is what got me into European soccer. It's the best teams of Europe facing off in games that you never really get to see. They're very rare.
It's a beautiful thing.
You know, like a German versus an Italian team, German versus Italian. I mean, English. Spanish, French, whatever. That for me was a really interesting thought. So, really glad to break down these groups.
Yes, sir.
What group we got today in this episode?
Glad you asked, Q. It's going to be Group F, if you couldn't tell in my attempt at rapping. So, that being said, it's more like yelling. We're breaking down Group F today.
But first,
we
need some help.
We need help doing that.
Who we got on the show today?
Because we do have some German team that you may have heard of.
May have heard of them.
I wish we had a Pundaddy who could BVB me real quick. Could you do that real quick, Rory? You got that? You got that? Could you get that?
Are you talking about Borussia Dortmund?
Oh, I am. Dortmund us.
Pundaddy on the show.
Tell us, hey.
Say hello, Pundaddy.
Hi.
Hi.
So, yeah. Borussia Dortmund.
He's about to talk some Dortmund on the show.
Glad to have you on the show, Pundaddy.
Glad to have you back.
Who is our other Bundesliga pundit?
Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you, welcome back to Mr. Alex Parker, Doobies and Boobies. How are you?
What's up? What's up? Hello, footy friends.
Glad to have you on the show, Parker. Can't wait to hear what you got to say about Dortmund, your, I guess, arch rival to Bayern.
Oh, I think there's a mutual respect there.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I don't know these things. I'm not the Bundesliga pundit.
No.
So.
No hate. All
All right, respect.
It's all the hate goes towards Leipzig in the Bundesliga. It's all any subreddit in Bundesliga. It's all like,
okay,
yeah, screw Bayern, but Leipzig, god damn it.
All right.
Leipzig, bunch of Boy Scouts. Anyway, let's take a look at who's in this group, shall we?
Oh, love it.
So, we already mentioned we got BVB Dortmund. Club Brugge, which that's one of Ocho and I's favorites. If you folks out there that listened to us last year, we had a lot to say about Club Brugge. Lazio and Zenit St. Petersburg is rounding out that last spot in our Group F.
Groove folk.
Getting effed. We're getting effed.
Oh, that's what it was.
We're getting effed today.
We're getting effed.
We're back to getting effed.
We're getting effed.
So with that being said, we need to look at these dates and fixtures for Group F, and then we're going to dive right into it. Can't wait. This group is kicking off on October 20th. We have Dortmund versus Lazio. That's going to be a very exciting one.
Exciting. That'll really give you the idea of who's going to dominate the group here.
Good attack versus a good defense. It's going to be really fun to watch.
Hey, now.
But
are you talking about Lazio as a good attack?
Yep. I was going to say they can score some goals too.
Leading goal scorer, Serie A.
Immobile. Ciro Immobile.
Former club too.
Facing his
facing
former club.
his former club.
Great point.
Good point.
Great point.
Fantastic
Who else
point.
do we have on that day, buddy?
We also have Zenit versus Club Rouge.
Zenit Club Rouge.
And actually, that might not be too bad of a matchup.
Oh.
On October 28th is where we continue the group. Zenit is going to go up against Dortmund. And then the second game that day is going to be Club Rouge versus Lazio. Then we're diving deep on November 4th. We have Zenit versus Lazio. We have Club Rouge versus Dortmund. A couple weeks later, 24th of November, we have Dortmund versus Club Rouge and Zenit versus Lazio. Then diving into December, on December 2nd, we have Dortmund versus Lazio, Zenit versus Club Rouge. And about a week later, we have Zenit versus Dortmund, Club Rouge versus Lazio. Really fun fixtures here. The one thing I'm going to say before I pass it to you guys, it seems like those bottom two teams that I know everybody's already putting those two at the bottom without even thinking about it, Club Rouge and Zenit St. Petersburg, they are going to put up a fight. That's going to be really fun to watch. These are two teams that you would expect to finish low, but they do have an upside to them. Can definitely say that.
Before we get into it, let's get predictions.
Yeah, let's get some predictions first. Pundaddy? How's this group going to finish out?
I think Dortmund's going to win the group, followed by Lazio. Then I'm going to go in Club Brugge, and then Zenit.
Okay. So you keeping those two on the bottom? Okay, nothing wrong with that. Doobies and boobies.
Give me Dortmund, then Zenit.
Oh!
You heard me correctly.
Oh!
Zenit. Two.
Frozen over here. You got me frozen right now. Keep going. Better
Followed
put
by
my boys in third.
Lazio.
Lazio. Okay.
And then give me Bruges last.
Bruges. Okay. I'm gonna have to grill you on why you put Lazio in third. But we'll get there. We'll get there very soon.
Lazio Daddy has something to say.
Go look at some
Just-
boobies, smoke some doobies, and we'll get back to it.
Well, let us know after you do that. The thing that I said last episode that I got to mention again, these games are so close together. 20, 28, 4th. And then you got 24 second, 8th. I'm going to say this again for anyone that hasn't listened to the previous episode. Usually Champions League goes beginning of September to the end of December. And this is end of October, beginning of December. 6 games. Not to mention you've got to balance out domestic league, cup games, blah, 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 blah. Going to be very interesting. Those 5 subs are going to be crucial. With that being said, let's dive into it. Our first team, Pundaddy, the BVB, Borussia Dortmund, Yellow Wall. Take it away, sir.
All right. So I have Dortmund finishing first. They typically they don't play in the same aggressive, like gegenpressing like Bayern does. They're a lot more reactive, which makes those games between them and Bayern so interesting. Because Bayern will make the aggressive move to steal the ball, and then Dortmund will react to that. They've been, I guess, typical Dortmund, winning big and then losing and then winning big again. So they've been up and down, just trying to figure out. I think, like many other teams lately, they're just trying to figure out new lineups.
As of late, though, can you go over their form? Because the last 4 games have been pretty exciting. Right here.
Did they win that? I don't think they won that Augsburg. I think they lost that one. 0-2.
Damn. Okay. Well, start here. This is
So the last game, Freiburg, Gio Reyna had the hat trick. And Halen scored a goal and assist, or 2 goals and an assist. What did he do? Halen scores twice. That Super Cup with Bayern that we talked about in the last episode, we won't go too much into that, but that was a very exciting game. Look up that Augsburg. I'm pretty sure they lost 2-0, and then they started off the season against Gladbach winning 3-0.
Yeah, you're right. Wow, Augsburg. I don't know why I put a W there. Is that you?
I might have just forgotten to take the W.
You know what's
away.
interesting about their form?
Yeah.
Now, of course, the Super Cup, that is a loss, but it was, I thought I walked away from it as an impressive performance. And then, of course, the game this past Saturday against Freiburg, both games were played without their best player, Jadon Sancho.
Interesting. That's a big thing.
Yes.
And wow, now that you're saying that, I forgot to mention the loss with Bayern. They did not have Lewandowski in our last Group A episode. Lewandowski was not in that game until very late.
Mm-hmm.
Still didn't make a difference, but he did not start the game. Anyway, that's a good point. So Sancho wasn't in.
But, did you even notice a difference that Saturday game? We were texting. Right, I think you were.
I was in late. I joined the game late.
Did you?
No difference.
Yeah,
From what I saw,
tell.
looked great. Now, granted, Freiburg.
Right, it is Freiburg, but it's
temper
still
temper the expectations.
Right.
Here, but still, they should be doing that against a team like Freiburg, and
But
they
that's
didn't skip a
depth.
beat. That's depth.
That's
depth.
going to help in the competition like Champions League when we just discussed that those. You have that schedule jam packed, especially that late October, early November. That's going to come in handy because Sancho may not need to play, or they can rest Marco Reus. Or
When was the last time Sancho did play? Do you know? So off the top of your head?
I'm pretty sure he played in that Augsburg game.
Okay.
You know what? That has to be, unless he's injured. Is he injured?
He has a respiratory infection that's not COVID, which some people think that it is COVID because he's been out for so long, but it is getting cold in Germany.
Yeah.
So,
Or it could be like the South Park special. COVID happened, so then it eventually led to everyone breathing heavily.
he's not quarantined.
So therefore COVID.
But he also hasn't been posting on.
Tell you what, he had a 7-0 in that game. So even though they lost, he still had a 7-0, which is that's pretty. You guys keep your eye on that. If you got 7-0 and your team loses, so that's interesting. Sancho has not been playing.
And actually, that game they had, I believe, 80% possession.
That is correct, sir.
Yep.
So it was. They lost.
Couldn't finish.
They just could not finish.
18 shots to 6.
I'm not a huge fan of the Sancho Halen.
I don't like
up
that.
top together.
No.
Pull up the formation if you don't mind.
Nope.
Of the Freiburg.
That's exactly what I was just getting ready to jump into because they've done the 3-4-2-1 with Haaland as the one, and with Gio and Royce kind of feeding him and Brandt as well. But all the other ones, yeah. So there you go.
There.
So it seems like they use that when Sancho's not in the mix, but they switch to that 3-1-4-2 when Sancho is available. So that's interesting.
I don't like that formation.
I don't like
I don't either.
And if anything, I would put Royce up top with Halen.
Ooh, so I think pre-injury Royce, I agree, but I think now you need to rely on a smart playmaker Royce. I don't think because Haaland, you can release him like a horse.
Right.
Royce, I don't know. You have to tell me here, but can he break on a ball if needed?
He can. He's not a spring chicken anymore, but the thing that helps Royce, especially in their attack, and I mentioned this last season or last May, that Bayern game that was 1-0. He brings so much more composure to that attack that, when it's the build up, they don't get as nervous. They don't get as anxious when he's on the field because he commands that. He's still the captain of BVB. So when they are on those fast break attacks that they like to do, he'd be the one driving the ball upfield and kind of controlling that attack and setting the tempo to it.
To add on what you're saying here, you want a player like that more towards the midfield.
Right.
Which makes sense here because it looks like Favre he wants Royce further back to pick up the ball from the midfield maybe rather than picking it up from another forward further down the field. So, because, you're spot on. His composure on the ball, not only is it better for his team as a whole, but it's better for the players around him because then they feel comfortable giving him the ball in a tight space.
Right.
Knowing that he'll have composure and make a good decision or lead to a chance.
Right.
So I agree with you. Now, question for you.
Okay.
Do you start him against the other teams in the group if you need a win? Or do you put in Sancho? You know, like your front three. It's obviously going to be Reina and Halen. Do you put Royce or Sancho, I guess is where I'm going.
That's so difficult. I think it's going to be a rotation, and I think they have expectations that, people are going to get hurt this season. And I think it's just going to be a pure rotation base, which I think I'm okay with. Because any combination of Royce and Reina and Sancho and Royce,
Successful.
You can't really lose there with the odd one out coming out on as a super sub in the 65th minute.
I can dig that.
Where I draw concern is we still don't have. I mean, what you're gonna put Torgan Hazard as the backup to Erling Haaland? Come on, no. And Torgan Hazard has grown on me over the past couple of months. He plays hard and he plays with a lot of pace, which I appreciate, especially with all the speed that Dortmund does have. But where do you play him?
Bench. You play him
Yeah,
on the bench.
when Favre does line him up at that false 9 position, just get out of here with that.
It doesn't flow.
I hate it. I hate it so much. It reminds me of the Mario Götze false 9 days. That's just so frustrating to watch because you have such beautiful build up and then it just stops. And it's very evident where the talent is lacking on that squad. And it's the same thing with Torgan Hazard when he's at that 9. So Halen can't really get hurt at this point until Youssef Moyoko turns 17 and can actually start playing, or turns 16 and can start playing in November. But still, do you want a 16-year-old coming fresh off the under 21 team filling in for Helen? No. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to the club.
Interesting. Parker, what are your thoughts here on Dortmund?
Yeah, I think they have a pretty easy road to advance. I think this is debatably the weakest group.
Fair enough.
I mean, not saying anything against Dortmund. It's just,
the opponents. Yeah.
It's just what it is. So, I mean, they should advance pretty handily, and I wouldn't worry about that rotation up top too much. Like you said, that, any combination of any of those guys up top is going to win you games. So, here is the time that you can afford to, rest players and get some other people exposed to Champions League and, again, it should be pretty easy for them, I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
And they're, especially for their play style, it's pretty aggressive. It's usually a 3-man back system. It's very fast moving. Like you were saying, it's adaptive. So I would imagine if they go against a team like Lazio, if Lazio decides to sit back, Dortmund's just going to go high, go fast, and attack. If Lazio decide to go with them toe to toe, I think the game's going to be wide open, and it's just going to be whoever can score more goals. Just depends on how I think Lazio is going to set the pace of the game, and Dortmund's just going to be like, all right, what do you want to do here? We'll counter with whatever. Like we were saying, we've all said it. Haaland, he's just going to be really difficult to stop. There's no elite defenders in this group, like you were saying, Parker. It's a pretty weak group. Should go right through. What are some players we should keep an eye on?
Glad you mentioned, first of all, before we move into the players, glad you mentioned, their style of play, because something I've always known Dortmund to do is the fast pace. The pace has always been something that's been there. I would say the last 10, 15 years that I can remember off the top of my head. It's 1 to 2 touch passing. We have that in our notes already, but it's something I already could think of in my mind. Whenever I close my eyes, I see Dortmund. That's something I see. So with that being said, like we were saying, I personally think you need to stick with the 4-2-1 because the way Gio's playing, first of all, it's all about Royce, and I think that whole pace that we're talking about really flows through him. And the way that Gio's been looking lately, it's seeming like he's basically just been taken under his wing as far as ball movement, as far as decision making. So I think that's something we should keep an eye on because if they switch the two up top, that really folks up everything else for the midfield for me. And I like what they have going on with that. I think they should stick with it at least, and not trying to send you any bad luck, Pundaddy, or anything. But until Royce gets hurt again. Because let's be honest, that'll happen. If it doesn't, I mean that'd be my hot take for it. Like Royce won't get hurt this year. This
is the first year that they can afford for him to get hurt.
Right. They definitely have the backups. They can. Yeah.
It's when he's on the field and healthy, it's a bonus.
Yeah, the way they can move people around right now.
And they designed the team to that, especially the development of Reyna to be Marco Royce. I mean, of course they're different players, but he fits that role so well.
Right. Yeah. Royce used to be more out on the wide with the flanks, and Reyna I feel like is more of a central player now. We've seen I don't think he's got the European pace to hang out on the wings. No. But he is phenomenal in the middle. Yep. He's very smart,
his
very
vision
mature.
Is really good.
You've mentioned his composure on the ball has gotten better, where he used to be very fidgety and kind of anxious, and he's very composed now. I think Halen, like you said in that last episode, has got a lot of credit in kind of calming him down, giving him confidence, and kind of ensuring that he's a player that they need on the team. So that's exciting. I'm actually looking at for me in a formation where this is essentially a 3-4-3. The two most important players are the two in the middle of the four. They get the ball a lot, and it's Witsel and Bellingham. And I don't know anything about Bellingham, but I know that Kahn used to play next to Witsel, and that pairing was amazing. And now Kahn has filled into the back line, which I think is a waste of Kahn. But you got to do what you got to do. Tell me about Bellingham. Is he?
A lot of different, a lot of the big clubs around Europe were trying to sign him. He's, I haven't watched him too much because he just arrived this summer. He's very young, so he's still developing. I know, he's been hanging out with Axel Witsel a lot. During training sessions.
Cool. 17 years old
17.
from England.
He's 17.
What? Wow.
And they paid $30 million for him.
Jeez.
He's really good. I have no complaints, and he's going to be very, very good. I think that Chan is just he has to play the back line just because
he can, and
you need someone back there. And you know what? And I've said this before in our group text, like. I'm not necessarily complaining about a back line of Chan and Hummels back there.
I'm not either. And Meunier, who they just signed as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've gotten to watch him. He's a quality back.
He's
quality.
Better than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah. I think he thrives in a 3-4-3. That's where I remember seeing him first was the World Cup in 2018 when they were playing at 3-4-3, and he was a handful for Brazil. I remember being like, Jesus Christ, who is this guy? Because he was just having a field day. So this is a built team. You still got Guerrero on the left, who we've just completely haven't talked about.
He's been hurt, I think, and today
Freiburg 4-0
was his first game back.
I mean, he is a phenomenal player.
He is.
He gets slept on a lot just because I think he's at Dortmund.
Yeah.
Right.
I think your weakest player on this team is probably Akanji. I hate to say that, but
Akanji's what's fun with Akanji? Watch his very, very deep cross. Like he'll
cross into the box or like a switch, an attack.
Cross into the box. Like he'll go deep from midfield, cross.
Oh damn, he's driving balls.
And he's got he dropped some dimes from there.
Okay.
Every now and then, I mean, of course, because he's a center back, he doesn't do it often. But when he gets the opportunity, in fact, who was it? It was one of the last games of the season. Halen hit a header from like in like the 91st minute to win the game, and it was Akanji. Akanji hit it from like right there from midfield, crossed it into Halen. I'll find the goal and I'll send it to you.
Okay, yeah.
dude. Yeah.
He's
Interesting.
so just from that aspect, and we don't really have anyone else center back. Like I don't mind seeing Akanji back there, especially with like Hummels and Chan. I think Akanji's going to get better.
Yep.
Because he's playing next to them. Yeah.
Well, that's a beautiful thing that you're mentioning the people we should keep one eye on, but I'll tell you some people we should keep two eyes on. Mr. Haaland, that we mentioned multiple times already. You got to. Royce, of course.
Hot take, first-round draft pick?
Yeah, okay. I'd do that.
Haaland?
I'd pick him in the first round.
Yeah,
like a
sure.
late first
He's going
rounder.
to score goals.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
especially in the group that he's in.
If he scores 3 goals, that makes up for any passing that he'd have to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Sancho, of course, got to keep an eye on him, whether it's coming off the bench or if Favre
Assists.
decides to do something weird.
Yeah, he's an assist machine, and
Assist
he's
machine.
got an amazing player finishing those assists.
And Gio Reyna, of course, from the U.S. fucking A. Let's go. Gio Reyna. Looking beautiful lately. Feeding Mr. Haaland. Let's hope that keeps up throughout the Champions League. I think my honorable mention will go to Witzel.
Oh
Anybody
yeah,
else?
there's a bunch
Tons
here
of people to mention.
because just this group. This is the time that you picked the goalkeeper for Uruguay.
Correct.
This is a goalkeeper that you would pick. I saw the name, I didn't recognize it. It was like Hits.
Is that Hakimi?
That's their backup. Berkey is still
Berkey's injured.
10 minutes short. I don't know what's going on with Berkey. I was surprised that he wasn't in starting the Super Cup, and I thought that was just Super Cup funny business. I don't know what's going on with Berkey, honestly.
Okay.
I couldn't find anything, and Hits is a quality backup, so
Parker, who are your favorites if you were to draft from Dortmund? Who are some players? Who are some key players?
I think you got to take Haaland, kind of, similarly to Lewandowski. He's up there. He's going to score goals for your team. So, got to take Haaland. And then I think just, I would take Reyna.
Gio Reyna or Sancho? Who would you rather take?
I think Reyna probably gets the more consistent start.
Okay. I dig it. I was going to say Reyna as well. I think Reyna and Haaland have a better connection.
Yeah, I think he's just going to keep feeding Haaland. He'll get those assists. He gets good looks on goal himself. And I think the fact that you have the threat in Haaland draws attention to him over, he'll get more defensive pulls towards Haaland, which will open up Reyna to, get some quality looks on target. So, yeah, I think for me it'd be Haaland and Reyna.
Word.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, that was it.
That was it? No,
No,
okay.
for me. I was going to let you finish.
Oh, okay. I want to finish it out with some hot takes. I want to hear these guys' hot takes. That's what I'm thinking.
All about the hot
That's
takes.
what I'm thinking. All right. So we'll say Pundaddy for last, of course. We'll get the Dortmund special going. Mr. Doobies and Boobies, could you please hit me with a hot take for Dortmund for this group?
Hot take: Dortmund will win the group, but lose in the round of 16.
Okay.
Ooh,
All right.
I dig it.
That's where they've been having trouble the last couple of years too. So I like that. Okay. Pundaddy.
I have two.
2 hot takes.
Gio Reyna will lead the Bundesliga in assists this season. And Dortmund makes it to the semifinals.
Okay. All right.
Looking around Europe, there aren't many teams that I consider that much better that are clearly better than Dortmund this year.
Are you talking as a team or player for player?
Just as a team.
Okay.
I think Dortmund, they're going to, that team's just starting to gel together, especially with Halen and Chan, because they both arrived last January. And those are 2 critical parts of the team. Gio Reyna just getting integrated into the starting lineup, and then I think Sancho's going to go into another level.
Hot take, I think Favre bulks it up. I think group stage, you see your, what's the word, your precursor, your foreshadowing, where you're like, that was questionable. We won the game, but you're like scratching your head there, like, Favre, what were you doing? And it catches up to him in the knockout rounds. I'm going to go with Parker. I like that. I think they get knocked out first round just because of Favre. I don't think it's because of the players. And if they go past, it's going to be strictly because of the players on the field. And I think Favre is the weakness of Dortmund. Second hot take, I'm going to steal it from you. Jesse Marsch comes in next season. Yeah. I think this is the season that they're like, time for Favre to go. It's time for Favre to go.
They're looking for something now.
Yeah,
they're looking for an excuse now.
Well, no, they've already said you're not coming back.
It's obvious.
They're not going to extend his contract, and they've
okay. So
they've already told him like. Yeah. So I don't even know how much control he has over the team.
I'm sure he does.
I mean, obviously some, but like, I think there's other like assistant coaches that they're listening to, and that's really.
You have to imagine they have a system, and it's like, Favre, follow the system. That's it. Don't deviate. And he might, and I think that's what's gonna. I think he's gonna try and deviate.
Yeah.
In the game time.
I think he's already deviated, and that's why they never extended him, because he has improved, and he actually has. I have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure he has the winning percentage. The highest winning percentage.
You told me that. That's right.
In Dortmund's club history. So it's like, it's one of those things, like, you've heard me complain about Favre, so like I get your hot take there.
That's where I'm going from. Just listening. Plus I've seen some starting lineups where you're like,
what are you doing? This isn't the time to experiment.
Yeah.
But I think this team they're going to gel very, very well, especially when it comes time to like December or January. They're
I can
really
dig that.
I can dig that.
Hot take, Boot.
I was gonna say he gets fired by January. You guys kind of stole my my idea there, but no, I mean, other than that, I mean, I like everybody else on the team. I like where they're going when they are winning games, but I have to, if I'm gonna go hot take, I'm gonna go with the one question mark, and that is him. So other than that, if you also have a good opportunity to hire a coach that you like and might fit this system, I think you got to go for it. So, that being Mr. Jesse Marsch.
Jesse!
And, hey, they could pull a Napoli. They could make it to the next round, everything, and still fire him. I mean, that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to say they might win the group and still fire him.
Napoli didn't do that.
Yeah, they did.
Gattuso is still there.
Mm-hmm. Who'd they fire to get to Gattuso?
Ancelotti?
Mm-hmm. Who got him to the round of 16.
No. Gattuso did that, right?
No.
Are you sure?
Get your Google on.
There could be a world where Dortmund's in 7th place in the Bundesliga, but they're doing fine in
that was
group stage.
That was why the whole thing was weird, dude. You don't remember that?
It was group stage.
They fired him. They knew he was getting to the round of 16 and then fired him. He got them to the round of 16 and they fired him.
I don't remember that. I'll have to take your word for it. But if you're wrong, I'm going to let you know that you are wrong on an episode.
And you have to wear a Boy Scout.
It could be this episode. It could be this episode.
We got to move on. I don't want to sit here and just look up stuff while we got other topics.
While y'all are talking, I'll pull that information for you.
Okay, yeah, do that. We're not
going to leave that how that is.
Find out when he got fired. My bet is that it was prior to the knockout round.
Prior to the knockout round.
That he got fired. Because you got to remember, we were talking about Napoli beating Liverpool.
Correct.
And he beat them.
He beat Liverpool and they fired him.
Was let go. So it was prior to the knockout round. He didn't get them to the knockout round. That's where I'm going. Gattuso had games in the group stage.
But he did technically get them to the knockout round.
How?
Because he beat Liverpool.
But that's one game.
Right.
We're not going to do this right now. Let's move on. You look it up. Look it up right now.
I'm looking it up. All right. So
next
who we have
team.
next?
Next team here. I'm going to skip. You have Club Bruges too. I'm going to skip them because Lazio's the better team.
We can come back to Lazio. We can come back to Club Bruges.
Lazio qualifying for Champions League. It's been a long time since we've seen Lazio in Champions League, and you got to give credit to a few key players here. You have Sergey Milinkovic-Savic, who I've been a pretty big fan of since he's popped on the scene. I think a year or two ago he was named midfielder of Serie A from Serbia. Really good player. If we look at their form, let's look at their form the last couple of games. They drew Inter in typical Italian fashion. That was a 1-1 game that ended with 2 red cards, both from some pretty pathetic flopping. If you haven't seen it, all you have to do is go read the comment section, and it's pretty hysterical. This one woman said, "You spend your whole life working this hard to get to the pros to flop like that. What a disgrace." And it's like, that's a pretty good point you got there.
Very good point.
They did get smacked by Atalanta 4-1, but go figure, Atalanta are crushing it in Italy and Europe right now. They also beat Cagliari. They drew Benevento, which is shocking, and then beat Frosinone. Lazio, again, we got to talk about just this random surge to the top. Right before COVID, they were 1 point behind Juve, and were able to qualify in the top 4. So very, very glad to see that happen. I'm trying to remember their coach's name. I've got his picture. I'm pretty sure it's Pippo Inzaghi's brother. I can't remember his name, but it's Inzaghi. It's one of the Inzaghi brothers. He's been doing a great job. Typical 3-5-2 Italian-style soccer. You got something?
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
I got dates. I got things.
So now this is going to be, I guarantee this is going to come down to a semantic debate where I think you said they were in the round of 16 they fired him, or was it before? It's close. Okay, whatever. So it's a 3-5-2. I'm probably around December if I had to guess.
Get your patches.
I was gonna say so.
Let's just do this now because we're talking about Lazio.
So we can't let that be how it was. We gotta finish it up.
Let's finish it up.
All right. So how would you say? Would you count that he got them in Champions League if he got fired literally after the game that got him in Champions League? Right, into the round of 16?
Well, so I would only count that pending on the other teams in the group were mathematically knocked out.
So they won 4-0 to Genk. They got Genk.
They ganked Genk. Genk. I remember Genk. We miss Genk.
This was December 10th. They fired him hours after he led the club to a Champions League.
Oh, this was because of Serie A.
Yeah.
He was failing in Serie A. He'd dropped down 7th or 8th.
So then they brought Gattuso in after that.
So you're saying that
Gattuso
could lose the rest of the games and he had still got them into the round of 16.
Yeah.
How many games were after that for Champions League?
Then they got to round of 16 and they lost.
No, they had Gattuso coached a.
Yeah, Gattuso got.
He did coach a game prior to Champions League.
Yes. No, I mean he was hired right after December 10th. And let's see. So
okay,
round of 16 started.
After
was Barcelona.
Yeah, Barcelona was a 1-1. Gattuso was there for that.
Right. Yep.
Okay. So maybe he got them there. I'll give you that. I mean, he did the hardest job ever, which was beat Liverpool.
Beat Liverpool.
That's all you had to do in that group was beat Liverpool.
Twice.
He beat him twice. I remember Koulibaly tossing Mo Salah's salad. It's pretty great.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Pretty great. That was one of my
first started the whole conversation.
Favorite memories was Koulibaly just stuffing Salah and was like, whoa. Haven't seen anyone do that to Salah. But that being said, let's go back to Lazio real quick. Booty did a great job looking up the formation and play style. What?
No, I thought you were going to say he did a great job finding out when he was going to get fired.
No. But
getting fired.
Lazio, they do a great job holding leads. They're defensive. They attack on the wings, play possession. They're aggressive. And like we've said, it's all about Milinkovic and Ciro Immobile, who leading goal scorer Serie A. Very excited to see him go up against his old team, Dortmund. Where did he do well there, or did they?
No, and actually,
that's what's so interesting.
So Matt Hummels, when he came back to Dortmund, they created this culture of, being more accepting. Apparently when he was at Dortmund, it wasn't like, ew, get away.
Oh,
yeah,
Italian?
But it was more of like, you don't speak German, so they weren't inclusive of him, apparently. And Hummels actually brought that up, talking about their current culture, saying Royce and I discussed it, and it was like, we need to change things if we're going to succeed.
Interesting. Yeah, it's an international game now.
Which I'm sure Immobile, appreciates him acknowledging that, saying, sorry, we were jerks.
That's true. I mean, if you want to win the big games, you got to be a family, in other words. And if you're doing this petty, what's it called when you get into cliques? If you're doing this clicky
and I don't
thing,
even think it was that. I think
you don't speak German. We don't want to talk to you.
Right.
Like,
I think no one made an effort. It wasn't like
no one reached out to him.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Whereas now,
welcome him in. Come on, man. Let's go get some.
You pull up
lunch.
Dortmund's lineup, and it's like there's so many different countries in that starting lineup.
Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere.
Right.
That's the game. So going back to Lazio, I think they're going to finish second. I got to pass this over to Parker because he has them finishing third. What's up, dude? Talk to me. I'm kind of pissed off right now, but I know you got some reasoning behind this, so I want to hear it.
I mean, I think Lazio is a good team. And
Dude, just going with his heart right now. It's just gut. He's like, Lazio third. No, I'm just messing.
I think they're still a good team, and if they end up second, it wouldn't surprise me. I just went with a hotter take of.
That's fair.
And
I respect
I
hot
think
takes.
that that clear second seat is not as, in my eyes, as clear as other groups, because Bruges has been a pretty consistent CL group stage team, so they've been here. So I mean, not saying that they're gonna go crazy or anything, but they've been here. They could at least compete, I would think. And then Lazio obviously has the firepower. They're a good team. They, by all means, should come out of group stage. But I just think Zenit has some interesting players that could at least get them through. I don't want to jump over to them yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Definitely. Thank you for holding off. You want to get in some hot takes for Lazio?
I'm down with some hot takes for Lazio.
I got a really spicy one.
What you got?
First place in the group.
Okay. Oh.
Hot.
Can't feel my fingers. What you got, Pundaddy?
I don't really think I have a hot take for them.
I got a second hot take.
Take it away.
Milinkovic will be going to Real Madrid at the end of the season.
Ooh.
Mark it down. Old midfield. Don't really have anyone that's proven that they can just go and buy. They didn't make a single move this summer, which is unheard of for Real Madrid. So you can only imagine that they're going to go big next summer.
There's a bigger picture.
There's definitely a bigger picture.
Yeah, piling up the cash.
They're piling it up. And because of COVID, whoever's in charge of financial fair play said that you can combine this summer and next summer together.
Oh. Maybe
Also,
and they could be saving up.
Mm-hmm.
Could be saving up. I mean, that midfield is what they need help. Casemiro, Kroos, and Modric are great, but their time is knocking at the door. So that's my hot takes.
One important thing you forgot to mention with Lazio, too.
Yes.
When speaking of Milinkovic, their owner refuses to come down the price on him for the last, 2-3 years,
Yep.
I'd say. He is wanting top dollar as far as 80 or higher.
Yep, that's accurate.
So that being said, Real Madrid's a great guess for where he's going to land because everybody's been asking, but the price hasn't been changing. So that leaves you with, maybe our top 5 clubs that could afford him, and Real would probably be one of those. So, good point. Ooh, hot take. They're gonna do what they do for Serie A. They start hot and end cold.
Not a hot take, but good prediction.
Yeah.
Good prediction.
It's a mild
That's a fair
take.
prediction.
Yeah.
Parker, what you got? Hot take.
I got that Taco Bell Diablo sauce take.
Oh.
Lazio drops group play, goes to Europa. Sevilla Lazio final, Europa League.
Whoa!
Mm.
That's a deep hot take. You're going like many layers here.
Mm-hmm.
Many layers. Might have to write that one down. That one could come true. All right, that's good. I like these.
Tell you what, only to make it a hot take, I'll flip-flop it. They will do the opposite of what they do in Serie A.
Start slow.
So they start slow and hot.
Hey, just like Atalanta last year.
That's
Let's
what
not
I'm thinking.
forget. Got that call.
There we go, baby.
It's pretty lucky, but I'll take the credit.
Ooh, ooh.
I can tell you when they went 0-3, it was like, fuck it.
Gotta
Ride
hop
or
on the
die.
back and just ride.
Ride or
dude.
die.
Just gotta fucking ride.
They drew somebody. I think they drew City. Or they
They
drew City, and it was like, they got a chance.
Yeah.
They can do it.
It's when they put Ederson at, or not Ederson, Kyle Walker at keeper.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember that.
They almost scored on Kyle Walker. They almost got a win out of that one.
That was close. That would have been, yeah.
They had a set piece on him. At one point, dude, he did a great job. I gotta give it to him.
Set pieces in the professional game are not as easy as they look.
Definitely not.
They are not as easy as they look.
I was already thinking the minute they were setting up for it, I was like, ooh, they're about to bust this on this dude. He had never played keeper. Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh my goodness.
Goodness gracious.
Where y'all want to go here? Where y'all want to go next? We going to Belgium? We going to Russia?
Let's go to Russia because we already mentioned them a few times, right?
The motherland.
We mentioned
Zenit.
there, yeah.
Zenit St. Petersburg. Parker mentioned it as his number 2 team in the group. I like it. It's definitely a plausible result of this group. Like you said, it's a pretty weak group, second, third. Kind of a toss-up. Could see Club Brugge get second. You never know. But as of their latest form, Zenit drew, win, but their wins were pretty significant, 6-0 and a 3-1. Their formation, Booty, I'm going to pass it to you. I think you found this.
Let's roll with it, Daddy-O. A 4-4-2. Apparently they're a great finishing team. They're great with set pieces as well. They like to control the tempo and possession. So that being said, there's a lot of guys that I know Alex has actually mentioned. They have some guys. Some of those guys that they are some guys to keep an eye on. First and foremost, our boy from Serbia, Lovren. Obviously, Lovren. Center back. He holds it down in the back for him. A guy that...
Do you know where he came from?
No, please tell the crew.
Liverpool.
I was going to say, I thought I knew, but I wasn't 100% sure, so Liverpool. Okay.
Liverpool, yeah. He played Liverpool.
There's a couple of Brazilians that threw on here just for you. I wanted to see if you recognize these guys. But the one I'm going to throw out there is Zuba, the forward for Zenit. Great World Cup for Russia.
Yes.
Definitely showed up in all the games. Now, speaking about those Brazilians, Malcolm. No?
Fantastic player.
Yeah?
Barcelona.
Yeah?
Would have done well had they not bought Dembele and just took his position away. Whenever he did play, he did well. But they never gave him the consistent start. Very excited to see him go to Zenit. We actually looked into him. Milan actually looked into buying him, but his price tag was too high. His salary was too high. So very excited to see him in Champions League. I think he's going to kill it.
And we have him marked out of midfield. Do you remember what he was about?
He's a winger.
He's a winger?
Yeah, he's an outside player. He's fast.
And that's what Barca was trying to do with him, too?
Yep. And, I mean,
remember
Messi's
him.
on the right, so he's not playing there.
Right.
And then on the left, you had was he there when Neymar? I think they got him as a replacement for Neymar, and then they spent the big bucks on Dembele, and it just never worked out. It just never worked out for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Glad to see he's on a team. You know they're using him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know they spent some solid coin to get him. So
How about Douglas Santos?
I looked into him. I don't know who he is. He's a 26-year-old Brazilian. I've never seen him. But I mean, you got to be a special Brazilian if you can go and play in Russia. You know, it's cold. Those Brazilians that succeed out in Russia, we saw Hulk. If you can withstand the cold, you can do well, because Russia is not that competitive.
No.
So yeah, it's a good one. The Kurzakov,
as of right now, I mean, the season's still young. He is registered at 900 minutes for them. That is the most. So
it's got to be more than that.
if I'm not mistaken, this is according to who scored.
900 minutes?
900
only
minutes.
10 games.
Correct. That's all they played.
Oh,
yeah, like this year.
This
Yeah.
season.
Yeah,
Okay,
this year.
Gotcha.
So
I'm like, that's not really a lot for a player.
I'll be honest. I was like, why are we talking about
Yeah,
that?
what is that? For his career, really? What the
I
fuck?
was like, that's not a long career. What are you doing?
And if I'm not mistaken, he's been there a hot minute too. So
That's what I thought you were going.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, the name sounds familiar. I feel like he was on the Russian national team as well.
Yeah, he could have been.
But yeah, this is Zenit's a sneaky team. You know, just looking at some of the stuff they're really good at, finishing, set pieces, controlling the tempo and possession. You can succeed, especially with a 4-4-2, doing those things well. So, Parker, do you have anything to say? This is your second place team.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to guard a giant 6'5" forward in Artem Zuba. So, and did you actually know Malcolm? I think he joined last year sometime, but he had, days after signing, he almost left because Zenit is like very, very racist.
Oh!
And so, like, I think it was a big deal having a black player come play in Russia. So it was almost a quick turnaround of, but I'm sure once he started contributing, they probably thought differently. But yeah,
until he did bad, and then of course they drew the race card, like we see all the time in Europe. That's just the way it is. So
yeah, so that was probably a bit of an adjustment for him. But I mean, he's, especially being so young, I think he's only he's early 20s, I think.
look it up.
22, 23 maybe.
Sounds right. I remember he was supposed to replace Neymar, 23, Sao Paulo.
Yeah. So I mean, him and Zuba up top. I mean, it's yin and yang up there.
I'm saying,
Kind of two different play styles. One small, quick, that Brazilian style, but then you got this giant Russian. They play aggressive. Again, you said that 4-4-2. If you can, which they seem to be good with finishing and controlling that tempo. I think they could, like you said, they're a sneaky team, and that's why I put them.
That's fair.
Put them at 2. So that's
I'm definitely biased. I'll tell you that. I'm definitely biased to the Italian teams.
That goes into my. That's pretty much my hot take. There speaks for itself. Putting them at 2.
That's fair. Hot take: they beat Dortmund and keep a clean sheet.
Oh. Okay. All right. Oh, you Jason that shit.
That was Predator.
Oh, okay. All right. Pred.
I'll go next. Go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, please.
I think I'm changing my prediction.
Oh.
And I'm going to go more in line with Alex's prediction. Zenit.
Too late. Can't do it.
Second.
Can't do it.
And Lazio finishing third.
So I'm going to let you know you had Dortmund,
I know.
Lazio, Bruges, Zenit.
I know.
So you just completely...
Yeah. We're blowing it up.
What's it called in poker when you give all your cards
Just
back?
folding. Just folding.
No. In poker, where you give me 2. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
What's it called? You know what I'm talking about. You have 5 cards, and you're like, I don't like these 2. Give me 2 new ones.
Yeah, throwing those out. Yeah.
Zenit, Lazio, Bruges.
I think I'm liking the Zenit team.
Yeah, when you hear a striker 6'5" and they got a
Right.
shifty little Brazilian behind him, you're like, that's actually a really good pair.
Right.
Mhm.
Kind of nervous about that. But hey, I made a hot take. They're going to take down Dortmund here. Booty.
Takes I know, man.
Hot take.
Hot ones. Got hot ones for you. Hot take: they will lead the group in goals, but not advance.
That is a
Ooh.
really great take, which means they're going to get goals scored on them.
They're gonna get goals scored on.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
There you go.
All right, that leads us to our last team. Nothing really special about this team, but we got to talk about them.
Got to.
They have done some serious upsetting last year, so definitely got to give them the respect. This would be Club Brugge, who was the first place team of the Belgian league following their cancellation of the season. Do you want to go into their form or their?
I would love to.
Yeah,
I'd
get
love
in
to.
there.
Let's
Get in
do it.
there.
Let's do it. And they were crowned champions officially last Friday. So just to throw that out there. Weird things been going on over there.
Okay.
Apparently waffles ain't the only thing going on over there. Belgium has some crazy things going on. Like, for example, the last 4 games our friends have been playing here, all wins. The first one against Anderlecht, want to throw this out there. Our good buddy, Mr. Vincent Kompany, is now the coach of Anderlecht.
Very cool.
He needs some help because he got waxed 3-0. Then, right after that, the next one we had here, there's a win, and this is in the Belgian First Division. This was a 2-1 win against CBK. Following that, a 6-0 win against, I'm going to try not to butcher this one, Zulte Warjum. And then a 4-1 win against Waasland Beveren.
There you go.
Waasland Beveren.
Take it.
So, with that being said, Club Brugge likes to score goals. They can do it.
Seriously.
We know, if you were listening to us, folks, last year, they were a hot team to start off the bat with Group A. They had a couple really great bouts with Real Madrid.
PSG.
They were actually beating Real Madrid at one point, ended with a tie.
2-2.
2-2. One of the guys we mentioned a lot then was Dennis. He's still there, the Nigerian forward. He's one of their big playmakers. Another couple playmakers they have that are pretty important here. Hans Vanaken, Belgian. Crepin Diatta from Senegal. I want to say we've seen a little bit of him before. That name sounds familiar.
That name does sound familiar.
Right mid, forward as well. Ruud Volmer, and he's from the Netherlands. He's a center defensive mid. Clinton Mata is their center back from Angola. So they have some guys there that are very under the radar, but don't look over them, because we saw last year they can make some noise. So
And this is a weak group.
it's a weak group.
Weak-ish.
It's very possible. I could see them. They definitely have the power. If they look like they did last year, they definitely have the power. They definitely have the audacity to beat a Lazio, to beat a Zenit, or at least hang in there with those guys. I could even see them hanging in with Dortmund too. They are that dangerous kind of team. My hot take is the fact that they are the X factor in this group. Period.
Damn.
So that being said, I don't know. I don't have any idea. I'm not gonna say they're gonna beat Dortmund, but I'm gonna say they have a chance. They'll probably end up 4th. Now that I said all that, so Pundaddy, what you got? What's your take on Club
They
Brugge?
beat Lazio twice.
Damn.
Okay,
Hot take.
what you got?
I think they only win 1 game.
Okay.
Because it's the Belgian league. No offense to Belgium.
I could see them taking a lot of leads on these teams and maybe not holding them.
Yeah.
They did that with Real Madrid. So,
Now I want waffles.
oh yeah, dude. I've been asking for a waffle maker for the longest time. I need to get that
Liz
in my
won't
life.
let me get one.
Why not?
She says it's too messy and I want to clean it up. She's absolutely right.
She might have a point there. Parker, what you got?
Hot take.
Simon Mignolet leads the group in least goals conceded.
Damn. Forget he's over there.
Another Liverpool player.
That's right. That's right. Cool. Like all of these hot takes, that concludes Group F.
Mm.
I think it's time to close it out.
Well, I'll be darned. It is about that time again. Tell you what, I want everybody to open their prayer books, page 69. It's time to pray and read the gospel according to Footy Fetish. We always like to give someone a shout out here. It could be anybody in the world. It could be soccer related, non-soccer related. Parker, I'm putting you on the spot. Who's your shout out for today?
You know what? I'm gonna give a shout out to Eddie Van Halen.
Nice shout out.
Good one.
Big rip. Great guitarist.
Rest in peace.
Yes.
2020. Arg.
I'd say moment of silence, but guitar solo instead.
You know, I just found out today that he did the guitar solo on "Beat It" by Michael Jackson.
He did.
Whoa.
I always thought it was Prince because it sounds very Prince.
I couldn't tell you the difference,
But
that's really cool.
He's done a lot of like commercials and stuff too.
yeah.
I only knew that because of Bill Doe.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, bro, he's with Michael Jackson. Who's your shout out, sir?
I'm gonna give a shout out to creators of South Park. It's Trey Parker and Matt Stone. The pandemic special that they did, they really nailed.
I heard they nailed it.
They nailed it, and it was.
Somebody explained the cops in the classroom scene to me, and I was in tears.
It was
I
really.
was
you have
like,
to you have to
that's
watch the
fucking amazing.
episode. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like they captured 2020 in a nutshell, and it's like.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, I'll watch it and I'll say, yeah, that's about right.
Same damn, yep, same damn
I
shit.
mean, they captured like the mood of the pandemic and everything. It was good.
What day is that?
Yeah, that whole thing that we're still doing. Random question. Is anybody else miss being locked down? Because now I feel like we're in this purgatory.
Yeah, definitely pick one or the other.
Right, like.
At least we knew what was going on.
You and I
then.
just shook hands today, and it felt weird, but it was like
Yeah.
it was good at the same time.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, we're going to be sitting together, across from each
True,
other
this
for.
is true.
Yeah, I miss the Tiger King days. Yeah. Yeah, shit was
Was
really
he
weird.
brought up in the episode?
Oh, he wasn't.
He wasn't.
Wow, that's a sleep.
They messed up on that one.
That would have been a great character to bring in.
Well, I mean, so much has happened this year. They had to.
It's true.
They had to capture all that, but doesn't mean they still can't bring him in.
They definitely need to.
Oh,
So
they
they
will
will.
eventually.
South
I
Park
just-
writers, bring in the
Yep.
Tiger King and bring in all those characters. Shit,
Yeah.
make an episode about that.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
I'm
what's her
sure
name?
they have
Carol?
something up their sleeve.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
They're probably waiting for things to develop.
That
'cause-
pandemic episode was like the big things in 2020,
Yeah.
and it was like, 20 years from now, we're not going to remember Tiger King.
No, we will remember that Carol killed Kenny though, so they need to bring Carol on, kill Kenny. Hugh, who's your shout out?
I was actually this kind of cheesy. I was thinking about just UEFA, just because, like I said, I'm gonna say this at the beginning of every group stage episode. Just every day that we get closer, just can't wait for Champions League.
You see that? It's goosebumps.
Goosebumps. I cannot wait for Champions League to return.
I'll be honest with you, since
And it was just here so soon. It was we
Yeah.
just finished, but I'm like, let's do it again.
We need more.
I'm not actually this year. I'm not even that big into NFL. I've just been more into soccer. I think it just has.
I wake up, I
more
look at the
mindset on
schedule,
soccer.
what EPLs are worth watching, and
Right.
then it's like, when's Milan play? And that's it.
I'm the same day with
Yep.
That's
with
pretty much
Dortmund.
it.
Yep.
And what I'll do is I'll put on like an NFL game so I can hear it, but I'll start working on other things.
Right.
Truth.
Who is your shout out?
Shout
Mr.
out-
Bote.
Shout out to Dr. Evil, because he didn't spend 8 years in evil frickin' medical school to be called Mister. Okay? So, and other than that, shout out to Russell Wilson. Every day I'm rustling for
Again. Second
another
episode in a row.
another shout out for
Wow.
Team Marcellus Wallace. We appreciate that because nobody fucks Marcellus Wallace but Mrs. Wallace.
Fair. He's
So,
right.
Now,
Good happy marriage there.
yeah, and Dr. Evil.
It's a great shout out.
You know, guys, about time to freaking close it out, okay?
Is this top?
It could be.
Top, if you get this, if you ever hear this, like, I don't know. I don't have anything
Go
to say.
sit down somewhere.
Shout out
sit
to
down.
freaking Top. You did an excellent job. Look at us
Freaking
now.
Thank you, Top.
Ride your best, son.
Top was our disciplinarian, Parker. And he never dropped the F-bomb. He would just say freaking. Freaking shut up. That was Top.
Even though he had you thinking he was the hardest thing since stale bread, you know, like it's like, but he can't say fuck to save his life. He just can't do it. He can't do it.
Maybe we can convince him to start saying Falcon. Shut the folk up.
I stare at you. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny. Well, I think it's about time we close it out. I sure wish I had a bowl of acai, probably from Nova Acai. It'd be great to eat right about now to close it out. It'd be a great way to close out the episode.
Great. Maybe
I wish there was a way we can make an alcoholic beverage with it. We just put in alcohol and just drink that. You know, next thing you know, we'll be back to square one. Where you should follow us because we're at Footy Fetish Show. We're on Insta. We're on Twitter for the Twatters. We're on Facebook
for the book faces.
for the book faces. If you want to donate some money, we're on Patreon as well. But if you want to buy some acai, you got to go to Nova Acai. We're all entwined together. That's where you got to go. And how good is that acai? You please tell us before we close
It's
this out.
delicious. I eat it every day. It's like breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Throws on a
whenever.
pancake or a waffle.
I had some this morning. It's great.
It's some good
Every
stuff.
time I eat it, I'm like, this is so good.
So
So good.
Especially during the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not excited for when it gets cold. I'm still going to eat it, but it's going to be like,
Yeah.
Yep.
It's one of those things like you've already been inside for a couple of hours in the heater.
yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Right.
Yeah.
When it gets hot, and then I can have some acai. Like, heat hot.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying.
Just throw on a hoodie in the meantime. Just go to town. Just eat that shit. Scoop it on up.
You do, go camping like the Boy Scouts and
You could-
eat it by a fire.
You could do that. All by fire. All gather around. Put some marshmallows on top of it because
Tell some ghost stories.
we want to thank you guys, first of all, for being on. Don't tell ghost stories without us ever, especially if they're in German. We want to know. Okay. This has been the Footy Fetish Show where the fetish is real and the footy is soccer. Peace out, Boy Scout.
Peace.
I bet LeBron has a name for each of his fingers too.
Braun, Bree,
Brawny.
Braunette,
Bro.
Lil Braun,
Broen.
Stubby Braun, Joe Pesci Braun,
Actually, no, it's just thumb brawn,
Thumb Braun.
index brawn, middle brawn, ring brawn,
you-
pinky brawn.
Did you hear where you could go? Well, Lil Braun and Big Braun told you to go over there. That's where you could go.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Whenever you're ready, booty.